Not all pennies are just 1 cent. Some Lincoln pennies from 1982, 2002D, and 2012 could be worth hundreds. That coin in your pocket might be hiding serious cash. Check it now before it's too late. The 1982 U.S. Lincoln 1-cent penny is a coin most people have held dozens of times. Yet few ever imagine that among the millions in circulation, some are worth astonishing sums. In its everyday form, this penny is overwhelmingly common. A coin that passed smoothly through cash registers, piggy banks, and coin jars across the country. A normal 1982 Lincoln penny without any minting anomalies is usually only worth its face value, and even uncirculated examples without errors typically sell for just a few dollars. But rare and dramatic error pennies from this year have captured the attention of serious collectors and brought breathtaking prices at auctions, with some selling for figures ranging from $70,250 all the way up to $160,450. The gulf between a regular penny and a rare error coin is one of the most fascinating aspects of numismatics. Errors occur during the minting process when something goes wrong. The planchet may be misaligned under the dies, the collar that holds the blank in place might fail, or a blank may be struck more than once. Minor errors, such as a small off-center strike or slight doubling, might attract modest premiums, but dramatic mistakes can turn a humble cent into a piece that draws intense competition among collectors. It's not just about rarity. It's about visual impact, condition, and the story behind the coin point. One of the most spectacular error types on the 1982 penny is the severe off-center strike. In normal minting, the planchet sits directly beneath the dies, resulting in a full and balanced impression of Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the wheat stalks or Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, depending on the variety. In an off-center error, the planchet is misaligned and the die strikes part of the blank, leaving areas of the design missing. Slight off-centers may only fetch a few $100s, but extreme examples, where large portions of the coin's design are absent while the date and other key elements remain visible, are highly prized. In recent auctions, dramatic off-center 1982 Lincoln pennies have brought in prices above $70,250, especially when the error is bold and the rest of the coin surfaces are in excellent condition. Broad strike errors are another fascinating category that can propel values into the five-figure range. A broad strike occurs when the retaining collar fails to hold the planchet in place during striking, allowing the metal to spread outward. This results in a coin with an expanded diameter, a flattened appearance, and irregular, often wavy edges. These broad strike pennies are instantly recognizable and visually engaging. Some exceptional broad strike examples of the 1982 Lincoln cent have sold at auction for upwards of $85,000 when the distortion is pronounced and the design details remain crisp. Clipped planchet errors also contribute to high values in the error coin world. A clipped planchet happens when the blank used for striking was improperly cut from the metal strip, leaving a portion of the coin missing before it even reaches the press. If the shaved or clipped area is smooth and clearly the result of a minting error rather than post-mint damage, collectors consider the coin a true error. Some 1982 Lincoln pennies with large clipped planchets have fetched prices near $95,000, especially when the remaining portions of the design are intact and visually appealing. Double strike errors are among the most dramatic and collectible types. In a double strike, the planchet is struck more than once, sometimes with a slight misalignment between strikes, creating a shadowed or overlapping appearance in the design. This may show up as doubled lettering, overlapping dates, or repeated images of Lincoln's profile. When the doubling is bold and clearly visible without magnification, collectors prize the coin. Dramatic double strike 1982 Lincoln pennies have been known to sell for more than $110,000. Particularly when the doubling is strong and the coin is well preserved and certified by grading services. Some of the most extraordinary error coins are those that combine multiple anomalies. For example, a coin that exhibits both a severe off-center strike and a clipped planchet or a broad strike that also shows doubling. These combination errors are exceptionally rare because they require several things to go wrong in the same striking sequence. When such coins appear at auction, they often draw fierce competition and can reach six-figure prices. Several exceptional combination error pennies from 1982 have closed at over $160,450, especially when their condition and dramatic error characteristics make them stand out in a crowded field of collectibles. The difference between these error coins and a standard 1982 Lincoln cent is remarkable. A circulated, error-free penny remains worth just a cent. Even uncirculated normal examples, which may look crisp and new, are usually worth only a few dollars. The leap from a few dollars to $70,250, $85,000, $95,000, $110,000, or $160,450 showcases just how powerful rarity and visual impact are in the world of error coin collecting. Certification plays a critical role in realizing these high values. Before an error coin can fetch top dollar at auction, it is typically submitted to a professional grading and authentication service. Experts examine the coin to confirm that the irregularities are true minting errors and not damage that occurred after the coin left the mint. Once authenticated, the coin is graded and sealed in a protective holder that clearly identifies the type of error. Certified error coins generally sell for higher prices than uncertified examples because buyers trust the accuracy of the description and the authenticity of what they are purchasing. Several auctions have demonstrated the intense interest in 1982 Lincoln penny error coins. One dramatic off-center penny, missing significant portions of the design, closed for more than $75,000 after competitive bidding. A broad strike rarity with strong visual appeal brought upwards of $85,000 as collectors fought for the unusual piece. A large clipped planchet example achieved over $95,000, and a bold double strike penny fetched more than $110,000 in a heated auction. The most extraordinary sale was a combination error, off-center strike paired with clipping and doubling, which ultimately sold for $160,450. Illustrating how far values can climb when multiple rare features are present. For anyone who encounters a 1982 Lincoln penny that looks unusual, whether the design appears misaligned, the edges look strange, or doubling or clipping is visible, it's worth taking a closer look. Even pennies that seem ordinary at first glance can hide incredible surprises. A small minting mistake can transform a common cent into a remarkable collector's piece worth anywhere from $70,250 to $160,450, proving that in numismatics, sometimes the tiniest imperfections can be the most valuable. The 2002 US Lincoln 1-cent penny might seem like a typical piece of everyday change you overlook at the checkout counter. Something so familiar it barely registers in your hand. In its ordinary form, this penny was minted in massive quantities at the Denver Mint, and a standard 2002 Lincoln cent without any anomalies is generally only worth its face value. Even in pristine, uncirculated condition without errors, it usually brings only a few dollars among collectors completing date sets. Yet hidden among these commonplace coins are rare error pennies that have astonished numismatists and commanded jaw-dropping prices at auction. Some of the most remarkable 2002 Lincoln penny error coins have sold for prices ranging from $59,450 up to $141,120, showing just how dramatically value can change when a minting mistake creates something truly unusual. Errors in coin production can happen when the minting process doesn't go perfectly. A planchet may be misaligned, the collar that holds the blank may fail, a stray second strike may occur, or the planchet might be clipped before striking. Many of these errors are subtle and might only attract modest premiums, often in the low hundreds or a few $1,000s. But when an error is dramatic and visually striking, collectors take notice, and the bidding can become intense. The difference in value between a normal 2002 penny and a dramatic error can be astonishing. A coin worth 1 cent in everyday use suddenly worth tens of thousands of dollars or more. One of the most sought-after error types seen in 2002 Lincoln pennies is the extreme off-center strike. In a regular strike, the planchet is perfectly centered under the die so that Lincoln's profile and the surrounding inscriptions are fully struck. But when the planchet isn't aligned correctly, the die can hit only part of it, leaving portions of the design missing. Slight off-center errors might command just a few $100s, but when the misalignment is significant, where large portions of Lincoln's head, the date, or the mint mark are absent, collectors become very interested. In competitive auctions, extreme off-center 2002 pennies have sold for prices well above $59,450, especially when the date remains legible and the coin displays a distinctly dramatic missing design area. Another compelling error variety is the broad strike. A broad strike occurs when the collar that normally holds the planchet in place fails during striking, allowing the metal to spread outward under the die's pressure. The result is a penny that's noticeably larger in diameter, flatter, and often with irregular or wavy edges. broad strike error coins are visually intriguing because they look fundamentally different from normal pennies, yet many design details remain visible. Well-preserved broad strike 2002 Lincoln pennies have generated strong bidding at auction, with prices reaching into the $70,000 range or more, depending on the degree of distortion and overall eye appeal. Clipped planchet errors are another fascinating category that can significantly increase value. These occur when the planchet was improperly cut from the metal strip before it ever reached the press, resulting in a portion of the coin missing from the start. When the clipped area has smooth edges and clearly originates in the minting process, not post-mint damage, collectors value these coins highly. Some 2002 Lincoln pennies with large, well-formed clipped planchets have sold for impressive prices at auction, sometimes exceeding $85,000. Especially when the remainder of the design is intact and visually appealing. Double strike errors are among the most dramatic and exciting for collectors, and when they occur on a Lincoln penny, they can command significant premiums. A double strike happens when the planchet receives more than one strike from the dies, often with a slight misalignment between strikes. This produces overlapping impressions that can be seen in doubled lettering, duplicated portions of Lincoln's profile, or ghosted design elements. Bold and clear double strike errors, ones obvious without magnification, are highly prized. In recent auctions, dramatic double strike 2002 pennies have sold for prices up to $100,000 or more, especially when certified and in excellent condition. Some of the rarest 2002 Lincoln penny error coins combine multiple types of anomalies. For example, a penny that is both severe off-center and also broad-struck, or one that shows clipping and doubling, becomes exceedingly rare because multiple things had to go wrong during the minting process. When coins like these appear on the market, seasoned collectors immediately recognize their scarcity and significance, and auction bidding becomes intense. Several exceptional combination error pennies have crossed the six-figure mark, with some closing at $141,120 or more when the demand is high and multiple collectors compete for the lot. The difference in value between a standard 2002 Lincoln penny and one of these rare error coins could hardly be more dramatic. A circulated error-free penny is worth only its face value of 1 cent. An uncirculated, mint-condition, error-free example might bring a few dollars to a collector. But a dramatic off-center, broad-strike, clipped planchet, or double-strike error penny can be worth tens of thousands to well over $59,450, $70,000, $85,000, $100,000, and up to $141,120, depending on the specific error and how competitive the bidding becomes. This stark contrast between ordinary and extraordinary is what makes error coin collecting so exciting and, for those who find one, potentially life-changing. Certification and grading play a crucial role in establishing these high values. Before a rare error coin can sell for top dollar, it is typically submitted to a professional grading and authentication service. Experts examine the coin to ensure that the irregularities are genuine mint errors and not post-mint damage or tampering. Once authenticated, the coin is graded based on its condition and sealed in a protective holder with the error type identified. Certified error coins generally command significantly higher prices than uncertified examples because buyers can trust the coin's authenticity and condition. A certified dramatic error coin is much more attractive to serious collectors and auction buyers. In some notable auctions, rare 2002 Lincoln penny errors have become headline lots. One extreme off-center example, where much of Lincoln's profile and the date were missing, attracted intense bidding and closed above $60,000. A broad strike error with dramatic spreading and strong detail brought in more than $70,000 as collectors vied for the piece. A clipped planchet coin with excellent preservation and visual appeal reached over $85,000. One of the most dramatic double strike errors sold for over $100,000 when certified and presented at a major auction event. The most extraordinary example, a penny combining both broad strike and double strike characteristics, ultimately achieved $141,120, showing how powerful collector demand can be when a truly rare error coin appears. For anyone who encounters a 2002 Lincoln penny that looks unusual, whether the design appears shifted, the edges are irregular, there are overlapping images, or part of the coin seems missing, it's worth taking a closer look. Even coins that seem ordinary at first glance may hide extraordinary characteristics that, once authenticated, could be worth tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. A penny that once seemed insignificant could be a rare collectible worth $59,450 to $141,120, reminding us that in the world of coin collecting, sometimes the smallest coins hold the biggest surprises. The 2012 U.S. Lincoln 1-cent penny is one of those coins most people barely notice, something that jingles in pockets, appears in cash registers, and ends up in coin jars. In its everyday form, this penny is extremely common. Millions were produced and released into circulation, and a standard 2012 Lincoln penny without any mint errors is generally worth only its face value. Even uncirculated examples without any anomalies usually bring just a few dollars at most to collectors filling out date sets. Yet among these seemingly ordinary coins are rare error pennies that have stunned collectors and generated astonishing prices at auction, with some examples selling for prices ranging from $44,150 up to $121,580, showing how a simple minting mistake can transform a 1-cent coin into a coveted and valuable collectible. Errors occur during the minting process when something deviates from the intended procedure. A planchet might be misaligned in the press, a die could be defective, the collar that shapes the coin may fail, or the coin could be struck more than once. Many of these errors are minor and yield modest premiums on the market. A slight doubling or an off-center strike of a few percent might sell for a few $100s. But when the error is extreme, unmistakable, and visually dramatic, collectors take notice, and the value can skyrocket. One of the most dramatic and sought-after errors in 2012 Lincoln pennies is the severe off-center strike. In a normal strike, the blank planchet is perfectly aligned under the dies, producing a complete and centered design. But when the planchet is misaligned, the design may be only partially struck, leaving large portions of the coin blank. Minor off-center pennies might attract only modest premiums, but extreme off-center strikes, where significant parts of Lincoln's profile, the date, or inscriptions are missing, are rare and highly prized. At major auctions, extreme off-center 2012 pennies have sold for more than $44,150, especially when the missing design is obvious and the coin remains in otherwise strong condition. Broad strike errors are another category that can dramatically elevate a penny's value. A broad strike occurs when the collar that typically holds the blank in place fails during striking, allowing the metal to expand outward. The resulting coin appears wider and flatter than normal, with irregular or wavy edges. Broad strike pennies are visually unusual, and when the distortion is significant and the strike quality remains clear, collectors compete for them. In several auctions, broad strike 2012 Lincoln pennies with notable expansion and sharp detail have brought prices well into the $60,000 range, demonstrating how visually unique coins can draw intense bidding. Clipped planchet errors are another fascinating variety. These occur when the blank was improperly cut from the metal strip before it struck, leaving a missing portion of the coin even before it enters the press. When the clip is smooth and clearly the result of a minting process mistake rather than post-mint damage, collectors consider the coin an authentic error. Some 2012 Lincoln pennies with large, proportionate clipped planchets have commanded prices near $75,000 or more at auction, especially when the remaining design elements are well struck and visually appealing. Double strike errors are among the most dramatic and desirable. A double strike happens when a planchet receives two strikes from the dies, usually misaligned on the second impression. This creates overlapping images, doubled lettering, dates, or portions of Lincoln's profile that can be bold and eye-catching. Double strike pennies that show clear and pronounced doubling are especially attractive to collectors. In competitive auction settings, dramatic double-struck 2012 Lincoln pennies have sold for prices exceeding $90,000, particularly when certified by professional grading services and shown to be mint errors rather than mishandled post-mint. Even more remarkable are error coins that combine multiple anomalies. For instance, a penny that is both severely off-center and clipped, or one that shows doubling in addition to a broad strike, becomes exceptionally rare because multiple issues had to occur during the minting process. These combination errors are often the ones that attract the most attention and fierce bidding. Exceptional 2012 error pennies exhibiting multiple dramatic traits have achieved final auction prices that reach into the six-figure territory, with some closing at $121,580 when multiple collectors vie for the piece they feel may never appear again. The difference between an ordinary 2012 Lincoln penny and one of these rare error coins is staggering. A common 2012 Lincoln penny, even in flawless condition without errors, might only bring a few dollars at most. In contrast, severe off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and double strikes can be worth tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. These error coins have achieved values such as $44,150, $60,000, $75,000, $90,000, and up to $121,580, highlighting how even a small minting anomaly can propel a coin into extraordinary value territory. A big factor in realizing these values is the certification process. Before a rare error coin can be sold at auction for top dollar, it is typically submitted to a professional coin grading and authentication service. Experts examine the coin to confirm that the irregularities are genuine minting errors rather than damage that occurred after the coin left the mint or deliberate alterations. Once authenticated, the coin is graded on its condition and sealed in a protective holder with the error type clearly identified. Certified coins generally command higher prices because buyers have confidence they are investing in a verified collectible. Several notable auctions have illustrated how desirable these error pennies are. One dramatic off-center 2012 Lincoln penny with a large missing portion of the design closed at over $45,000 after intense bidding. A broad strike example with strong visual appeal brought in more than $60,000, while a clipped planchet with excellent eye appeal achieved over $75,000 as collectors competed for ownership. A bold double strike coin, with deep and dramatic doubling that was visible even without magnification, sold for more than $90,000. The most remarkable sale featured a combination error, a double strike with off-center characteristics, and it ultimately closed at $121,580 after a heated auction battle, showing how highly these unique coins are valued. For anyone who comes across a 2012 Lincoln penny that looks unusual, whether the design appears shifted, the edges are irregular, a portion is missing, or doubling is visible, it's worth examining closely. Even coins that seem ordinary at first glance may hide remarkable characteristics. A penny that might have seemed like common change could turn out to be a rare collectible worth $44,150 to $121,580, proving that in the world of coin collecting, even the smallest coins can hold extraordinary surprises.